in the awareness of it to be conscious. As I said, intention is everything in our world. We are responsible for ourselves.
Oh,
and that is something we need to be very aware of, when we do anything. Now, what's our intention behind it?
Yeah, our time is starting to run down here. Now, I got to ask you a question. So you get a client that comes to you for a reading. Explain to the listeners what's involved in a reading. I mean, what do you do, and what's required of your customer or whatever it comes in for reading? I mean, is it done over the internet? Is it done in person? Is it done over the phone? How is it done, and what's involved?
All three, actually. As I said, I'm in southern Ontario in Canada, so I do phone readings, I do Skype readings, and some people do actually come to see me in person or when I'm out on tour and come to book a reading with me that way. When somebody comes to me, usually they want to connect with somebody that has passed into spirit. And that is the first thing that they've done is they've said, okay, I want to book a reading here I'm hopeful that my mum will come through or my grandma or whoever it is we want to connect with. So they've already done their part. And spirit know. Believe it or not, it's quite scary sometimes how much they actually know. And so when they book the appointment with me, they come and sit in front of me or through the Skype or the phone or however it is. And then I get the messages. And I go through the beginning to explain how I work and how this all comes together so that people are aware of it. And because people are used to going to see a tarot card reader or a runes reader or an oracle card reader or something like that, they're used to it. So they get the deck and they're shuffling and they know what to do. But for somebody, when they come to me, it's a case of, okay, how different is this? Because I'm just giving them information. I don't ask them questions. I don't ask leading questions. If I'm getting some information from somebody and they're not quite sure who it is, then I will try and fine-tune that down. So if I've got somebody that's on one side of the family and I get a sense of a grandma and I've given the description of this grandma, if the person cannot define who it is, sometimes it's because there were two grandmothers that were there in their lives and they were very similar. So at that point, then I've got to be very clear on which grandmother it is or, which aunt it is or who it is. And I don't ask questions. I'm giving the information. I do ask if people have questions that they want to ask of spirit, but I'm certainly not. I find that some people that do the kind of work I do want to know, who is it you want to contact? How long have they been passed? What date did they pass? And things like that. And I always wonder why they need to have that information. The one thing that I can say to people is I can't guarantee who's going to come through from spirit. And sometimes if somebody doesn't come through that you're totally wanting to come through, it's not that they don't love you. Sometimes it's like phoning a friend and getting voicemail. It just means they're off doing something else.
Well, I got to ask you a question. I've asked this probably of every mystic or medium that's been on my show. Okay, How about, have you ever had a client come in or call and say, hey, my Uncle Henry passed on and he had a fortune hid around his property and we can't find it. Can you help us find it? Because we know it's there. Have you ever had that ever asked of you?
But they didn't actually come in. They just said that the person that I was communicating with in spirit had not left something in order. And usually the person in spirit will try and give as much information. Sadly, I don't have people that come back to me and say, oh, yes, we did find the will. I had somebody not so long ago, and they said, we cannot find the will. And it was a person who I was communicating with. So we fine-tuned it down to where it was. They knew which piece of furniture it was by the way I described it to them. And it was not in this particular piece of furniture. It was down between it. So, like if you can pull a drawer out, sometimes there's that part underneath where it was there. And I can't remember the exact details of it. But the only reason I remember this is because afterwards they were talking to me about it and said, yes, we know where it is. Now we're going to go and check in it and find out, it's a bureau or a desk or whatever. So because they've discussed that with me, it becomes a memory. But if they hadn't discussed that with me afterwards and they had gone away, I would have no clue. So in many cases with the readings I do, I have no idea what has been transmitted, if you like, to that person. But in the cases where they talk to me afterwards and say, well, that was very helpful, now we can go and try and find the will, etc., and so on. But nobody's actually ever come. Oh, one person actually, and it was a wedding ring that was lost, their wedding ring. They had taken off. They couldn't find it. And I told them where it was, and they actually emailed me back and said it was exactly where you said, and yet I had checked there, but it was in the inner lining of the jacket that you were talking about. So usually Spirit can help guide us to something if they want us to. Yeah. You've got to remember, if say you're, I don't know if I've had anybody like this, come and they're trying to find the will before somebody else finds the will because they're doing it with the wrong intentions. Whether Spirit would actually share that, I don't know. But usually when people come to see me, they either want closure. A lot of people want to know how the person's doing when they've gone into Spirit. Like, are they better? Are they healed? Are they sad? Are they happy? And that kind of thing. With grief, which is what we are in when somebody passes into Spirit, we have all the human emotions. First of all, I'm never going to see them again. I want to make sure that they're okay. Did they arrive where they were supposed to? Is somebody there looking after them? Are they happy? Because they're human things that we want to know. And most of the time when people actually, when they pass into Spirit, when they've gone through that, they'll come back and share that information, but they've now gone back into the soul where they don't need to be with the emotions. But because we are still here and they're our loved ones, they realize that this is something we want to know.
That is interesting. Uh-oh. We just lost the line. Okay. Hopefully she calls right back. That's the trouble with Skype. Sometimes you'll be talking on Skype and it just drops out. And then, we'll wait and see what happens here. Hopefully she realizes that we lost the connection here and she'll call back. But I always wonder, on spirits and stuff, when they pass on, are they actually back in the spirit world or are they on a parallel world? Maybe they move on to a parallel world where they, continue their life and different. I don't know. One thing I remember Art Bell one time telling me that I think it was John Lear made a remark. He goes, when you die, don't go into the light. Light is it's a trick to trick you. You want to go into the darkness, and that'll take you to heaven. I don't know. I don't know if that... I don't know. I know it really concerned Art Bell for a long time after he heard that. I mean, it made him made him wonder, like, when I pass on, do I go to the light, which might be a trick, or I'd be going the wrong place, or do I go into the darkness, which is like when you go to bed at night and you sleep? I don't know. Hopefully Debbie calls back. We've only got a couple minutes, and we'll see what happens. But, on mediums, I'm just kind of curious. If you want to get back to me, if you use the medium, please get a hold of me at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. That's nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. I want to know what outcome and what response you got from a medium. I mean, did you ever ask like advice and stuff like, hey, I lost my ring and were told where it was at? Or about connecting with a loved one? I know that just like anything, you have honest, trustworthy mediums. Then you have the other ones. I hate to say it. I think they lead people on to questions so they can answer the questions without their client realizing they're getting the information as they're talking. so they can give them the answers they want to hear. I know there's some of those mediums. You want to stay away from those ones. How do you know I don't know. Do you go to the Better Business Bureau and look? I don't know. But anyway, I don't think she's going to be calling back. We'll give it another minute or so. But anyway, coming up here for the next half an hour, we'll have James on. We're going to be talking about his latest ghost hunting adventure. And here she is. Yeah, you must be using Skype and it dropped out on you.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize it had dropped there. Sorry.
Oh, that's the problem with Skype. I just want to change the subject real quick. I don't know what version of Skype you have, but the new version goes in effect mandatory 1st of November, which I'm really upset with Microsoft over this because...
Absolutely. Me too. I'm with you 100%. It's absolutely horrible.
Well, not just
they
that.
They need to change it back.
For people like me who have a talk show, I can bring on like 7 or 8 people on the line. Now, I've talked to one of the vice presidents of Microsoft about this, and their answer is, well, yeah, you can still bring people online long as they're Skype users. So now I can bring in anybody. They can just call me up, and I can, have a guest on. I can bring people in, asking the guest questions. But as of November 1st, that's not going to be able to happen anymore because you can't bring...
It gets more and more harder. So I don't quite know where the call dropped.
About 5 minutes ago.
Oh, gosh.
Well,
I was showing the story about the young lady that came to me that her brother was effing and blinding. Did I get that part in?
No, we didn't, but we got only about 4 minutes left. Why don't you tell people how they can find you, your website, and let's talk about all that here because,
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'm on Facebook. It's under Vibrational Energy. And it'll have Vibrational Energy Debbie Anderson. So that's my Facebook page. I'm on Instagram under Debbie Anderson Vibrational Energy. I'm on Twitter. My website is vibrational-energy.com. And there's lots of free stuff on there. I do a free weekly reading on YouTube that please do listen in. It might give you some guidance for the week. I post a daily positive inspirational words. I post a daily affirmation from one of my 4 decks that I've created. So there's lots of free stuff on there. So you don't have to buy anything from me. You can enjoy and embrace all the free positive information that I share with people. And that's through YouTube, and my YouTube channel is Debbie Anderson Vibrational Energy. The two are linked together. So please reach out. I'd love to have you on board and get some positive stuff going in your life.
Now, do you have any books at all I
have no books, but I have 4 decks. Okay. I have 2 Oracle decks that I've created. Vibrational Energy Oracle deck, which is for adults. The Vibrational Earth Children deck, which is for children from 8 years upwards. And I have a lot of people using that for inner child work, if anybody's doing that. And I have 2 affirmation decks, which are great for meditation purposes. They're also great for pull a card for the day to focus on something positive and good. And they're all available, again, on my website. You can get them. And again, for free stuff, my 2 Oracle decks are actually as free downloads. And again, hit my website. On the landing page there on the right-hand side near the bottom, there are links in there to download a free limited version to your iPhone and Android. So I like to give away free. I really do.
Well, a lot of people like taking free stuff because a lot of people don't have the extra money to spend. Now, again, tell everybody your website, how they can find it.
Okay, vibrational-energy.com. My YouTube channel, my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter. I'm on Google and all of those. And it's usually under Vibrational Energy and then Debbie A. Anderson.
Well, Debbie, I want to thank you for coming on. And, that's the problem with Skype sometimes. It can just drop out.
So sorry, Gary.
Yeah, and I use Skype and you use Skype, so there's a 50-50 chance it could either been my side or your side.
I'm sorry about that, and sorry to your listeners as well.
I enjoyed having you on